Hello, bad boys. If you want to win a $50 Amazon gift card, all you have to do is like, comment, and subscribe to enter our giveaway. In the era of sport promoters such as Don King, Frank Warren, and Oscar De La Hoya, Dana White has made his name as one of the best MMA promoters in the world. Dana Frederick White Jr., after becoming the UFC president in 2001, took the company to new heights. Boxing was then the most popular combat sport. However, Dana White's efforts boomed the mixed martial arts sport to another level. He discovered the superstars like Conor McGregor and Ronda Rousey, who then became the face of UFC and made it a multi-billion-dollar company. As UFC president, Dana White is already under the microscope. But here are 10 things you didn't know about Dana White, so stay tuned. 1. Diagnosed with Meniere's disease.
I wanted the surgery, but the doctor being a doctor, doctors want to treat you. They want surgery to be the last option. Well, I'm not a normal patient, okay? I'm not some guy who works 9 to 5 and goes home. I fly all over the world every day of the week, and my thing is, if I'm flying on a 14-hour flight to Brazil, and what happened to me a few weeks ago, it happens to me on the plane, and I have to land in Brazil or some other country where they probably don't understand this thing. It's just, I'm a different case.
In May 2012, Dana White revealed that he had been diagnosed with Meniere's disease. This is a neurological disease which causes vertigo and dizziness. Dana thinks the disease was due to getting hit in the ear during the fights he was involved with in his youth.
I went to the specialist for Meniere's disease, which I have, which is basically damage to the nerve inside the ear that tells the brain you're moving when you're not moving. And it is the most horrible thing you could ever go through.
2. Dana has only missed one UFC show in the last decade. Dana White attends every one of his UFC events, regardless of where it may be, even on a remote island. However, UFC on Fuel TV 3, Korean Zombie vs. Poirier event, was the first event Dana has missed in more than a decade. He did not attend it as he was staying home, adhering to the medical advice for the treatment of Meniere's disease.
Dustin Poirier, winner by submission.
The small things, the finesse, who's going to go out there and fight like a professional fighter and pick their shots.
Dana was very sorry not to go to that fight. He stated that, despite the doctor's warning, he thought several times about leaving and going to the fight right away. But in the end, he thought it would be better to rest because the next week he would have a week full of flights and meetings. Luckily, he recovered quickly and hasn't lost a match since then. He has also successfully resumed his millionaire president routine with an MMA business estimated at $1 billion. Not bad.
You lose your hearing completely, and everything starts spinning. You go down, and it's literally...
3. Dana's relationship with American President Donald Trump. Dana White's friendship with Donald Trump is not unknown. Dana has supported Trump at 2016's Republican National Convention in Cleveland, Ohio, where he endorsed Donald Trump. White said that when other venues refused to host UFC, Trump had helped the UFC by allowing them to host its first event under Zuffa ownership, UFC 30, at the Trump Taj Mahal. Dana White has also visited the White House to meet Donald Trump and invited him for UFC events.
Congratulations on your first show. That's got to feel good.
Thank you very much, James. I appreciate it. We're very excited. We got a sellout crowd here, 5,000 people, revved and ready to go.
Now, what you hear in this next fact will literally shock you. 4. Dana carried Floyd Mayweather's bag. Dana and Floyd had a relationship dating back over 20 years. After the boxing fight of the era, Floyd Mayweather versus Conor McGregor, Floyd said that, "Dana White, I remember when you used to carry my bags."
But I can remember Dana White used to hang around me and Jeff Mayweather and carry my bags.
The clip went viral, sparking a lot of controversy about Mayweather's bullying. He states in this clip that he has nothing against Dana White, but that in reality, he is just a small boss, and that McGregor is only a Dana White's employee. Mayweather is the highest paid sportsman in the world, with assets ranging between $900 million and $1 billion. So it's very hard to keep his mouth shut. only McGregor, with his speaking talent, before the famous boxing fight between the two. He practically ridiculed him in front of thousands of people. When Mayweather won bronze in 1996 Olympic Games, he then made the transition into professional boxing. At that time, he wore Bull & Beiser boxing equipment in the first few fights, which was a fight apparel company owned by Dana White. Floyd was also amazed how Dana became successful and now promoting a $1 million fight. 5. Dana White was a celebrity boxing trainer. Dana White, after reuniting with his longtime friend Lorenzo Fertitta, started to work on buying the UFC in 2001. This also gave White an opportunity to work and train with Mark Wahlberg, who was preparing for a boxing film. A mutual friend of them told Wahlberg to use Dana as his boxing coach, which eventually led them moving in together to train. Dana and Wahlberg are still good friends, and you may have also seen Wahlberg in many UFC events. The next story is more amazing, so stay tuned. 6. Dana's daughter got her ear ripped off. Dana was enjoying the main event of UFC 192 between Daniel Cormier and Alexander Gustafsson at the cage side when he received a call from his wife. Dana's family dog, English Bull Mastiff, had jumped on his daughter and bit her ear off after she refused to give it the ice cream cone she had in her hand. Dana then asked UFC officials to treat his daughter, as they had more experience in this type of case, working with the UFC. 7. Gambling addiction and getting banned by casinos. Palm resorts and casinos apparently welcome the gamblers with open arms. But if the gambler is as successful as Dana White, they aren't so welcoming. Dana claimed he's won around $2 million in gambling at Palms. This gambling's ended in Dana getting banned, along with UFC events at Palms. Now you know how often he may have gambled with his fighters. Dana seems to be a hell of a gambler, however he denies to be addicted. 8. Working as a bouncer and bellhop. Dana took on numerous jobs in his life. He worked as a bouncer at Black Rose Irish Pub in Boston. He then moved on to be a bellhop at Boston Harbor Hotel. His love for fighting was never less than, and he often arranged wrestling matches between his coworkers to settle their disputes. No surprise, he is now the MMA's best promoter. 9. Being threatened by infamous gangsters. In the early 1990s, Dana, along with the boxer Peter Welch, started a Get Kids Off the Street program in Boston by training youngsters how to box. Unfortunately, this caught the attention of the notorious gangsters Whitey Bulger and Kevin Weeks, and they demanded $2,500 from Dana. However, Dana was not interested in messing up with them, so he just booked the ticket and flew to Las Vegas. 10. Dana refused to have women in the UFC. Yes, now while watching characters like Amanda Nunes and Ronda Rousey and the success they have achieved, it is hard to believe this. But indeed, Dana White's years back stated that women would never ever fight in the UFC. And then, in just 2 years, Dana White brought Ronda Rousey, and the rest is history. After the success of these women, Dana had stated that he was wrong, and that women are legit and incredible in the fighting game. Dana White started from being a bouncer to now having a net worth of more than $500 million, and to show that there are many opportunities to grow in MMA. He is now helping young male and female fighters to train and develop in UFC to become the next superstars of the company. During the coronavirus pandemic, building a fight island in Abu Dhabi and hosting the events was an incredible move. UFC was the first sport to resume, and most of the credit goes to the boss, Dana White. This is all for the video. I hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to subscribe, like, comment, and turn on the notifications. In the description, you can also find our most viewed videos. That's all for now. Have a good one.
He tested positive before. Then apparently he was on suspension with New Jersey because his levels were high. Then he comes into Philly and doesn't pass his medicals.
Do the social distancing and whatever else you have to do, but we need sports. We want our sports back, and congratulations to Dana White, UFC.